Bright installations, bold performances, provocative pictures, and painted walls. Art has long been living in the new era and formation. Ask questions, be surprised, experience new sensations, and set off on an exciting journey through the world of contemporary art with Modern Art Program. Today in the program, the relationship of coinciding by V.Fishkin and E.Meldibekov. How will artists spend this summer? Clothes that wear people. Whole world in one dance team. Night shift of contemporary art. The language of art is so universal that common roots can be found in a variety of works. And if a solo exhibition is a monologue, then a joint exhibition is a dialogue. Two artists in one space are able to communicate with each other and with the viewer endlessly. Such a creative relationship was found between the Kazakh Joly Meldibekov and the artist from Slovenia, V.Fishkin. V.Fishkin is a frequent participant of the International Biennial. The most famous work of the artist is the installation of Miss Christmas. A conventional bucket with black paint gives a shadow in the form of a palm tree, although in reality there is no tree. The object and its reflection on the wall do not match. Upon closer examination, the viewer sees a projection with a palm shadow. This optical illusion allows us to reflect on the very essence of art. Fishkin takes here the basic elements of fine art, light, shadow, and color, and completely changes their ratio. It's very difficult to talk about the genres and technique of my work, because I never limited myself in the material. The only thing, if you turn off the electricity, then most likely my work cannot exist without it. Most of my work is still connected with some technical electronic devices. Although this is not about technology, but still about a person and about relationships. Vadim's works are, of course, more conceptual. They are made in minimalistic style. It's hard to understand them immediately, and not everyone likes it. But the more you get to know the artist, the more you read it, the more you begin to understand his work. If the work of Fishkin is a new technology, then Joly Meldibekov focuses his attention on historical research. For example, the installation of The Seasons in Hinduk Ush tells the story of the change of political regimes in Afghanistan over the past 60 years. In such projects as Transformer and Pedestal, the artist explores the history of monuments in Central Asia. Meldibekov represents them in the form of a game, a wooden constructor from which you can collect different monuments. I work in a different genre. Most importantly, I study cyclicity and impulses. It is very important in Central Asia as time flows. If Vadim solves global problems, I try to focus on a local context. How time flies in Central Asia. Modern art is always an indicator of society, the mood in society. It mirrors what is happening, and as we see, Joly's work has a lot of social underpinnings. It would seem, is it possible to unite these two authors in one exposition? The artist, post-conceptualist V.Fishkin explores the nature of art. In his works, there is no local context. They are maximally removed from the concepts of geography and boundaries. Meldibekov is attached to territorial issues. The political and social processes taking place in Central Asia are the key object of his research. He reinterprets historical documents, national heroes, nature, and architecture. Nevertheless, the relationship between the creativity of both artists cannot be denied, argue art critics. They have a lot in common. Both are very interested in the topic of time. If, for example, Joly Meldibekov is interested in how time flies in Central Asia, then V.Fishkin considers time more from the point of view of natural phenomena. They take ordinary objects and reinterpret their meanings and present them in a completely new format. To show a different angle of the familiar things to us is the task of both artists. The authors present their results in a variety of forms of sculpture, installation, performance, but each subject carries an element of poetry and humor. Take, for example, the work of Fishkin's Stretch Time, which is the arrow of the clock. Despite such a pathetical name, there are no complex, technological, or large infusions of modern science. It's just a completely domestic game with absurdity, a huge, misunderstood, or unconscious until the end of the concept of time, and such a banal children's game with its physical use. What does it mean to stretch time? How can I feel it? how to touch the impossible.
Такая банальная детская игра с его физическим употреблением. Что значит расследовать время, как его ощутить, как дотронуться до невозможного.
The nature of phenomena or historical facts. One doesn't have to choose V.Fishkin and E.Meldibekov at the joint exhibition. Both artists in one gallery conduct a dialogue among themselves, inviting the viewer to participate in a conversation. Dialogue between artists of different countries becomes possible due to many international projects. Among them, the program of residences Art Prospect. The platform is a professional platform for the exchange of information, resources, and practical skills in the arts. This initiative of the New York organization CEC Arts Link, which provides artists and curators with the opportunity to implement a special project in partnership with foreign colleagues. This is a project aimed at bringing together artists, curators, urbanists, researchers from 10 different countries, the nearby region of Kazakhstan. Among these countries are Armenia, Belarus, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. The biggest part of the project is a wholesale exchange between specialists in the field of modern culture. The aim of the project is to rethink the standard concepts of cultures and to show how artistic solutions can stimulate social interaction and positive changes. You can conduct research, you can make a project, you can make some public art project, you can do public events, exhibitions, objects, and so on. Organizations that accept you and just support you and your idea, which you submit in the application. The structure of each residence is determined based on the interest of host organizations and invited artists. The program enables residents to learn more about the local creative community and share information about themselves and their native culture with the local audience. A lot of artists, tens of thousands, live in these residences. They make their project, and here it is just necessary to understand how this ecosystem works. And it is not difficult to fit into it if you understand the details. Kazakhstan artist Zoya Falkova this year became a member of the residency program. First, she will go to Kiev, later to one of the cities of the USA. Zoya says that she uses modernity as the basis for projects. Falkova has big plans for these 2 trips within the framework of the project. There will be several public events. I will probably tell you about what is happening in contemporary art in Kazakhstan, in Central Asia. I'll show them my work. Perhaps there will be some discussion, because they have a number of feminist questions on the agenda. The art duet of Maria Wilkowiska and Rufia Jenerbekova also participates in a program from Kazakhstan. Their residence will be Yerevan. Artists plan to collect material for the project in the capital of Armenia. We publish a magazine called Shalizin. It is devoted to contemporary art. I think that we'll continue to interview our colleagues, first artists and then art institutions. Also, we will write what is happening at some micro-institutional level in our republics. While Kazakh authors will enrich their creative world in other countries, Kazakhstan, within the program of residences, will visit artists from Belarus and Armenia. This year, we decided not only to invite artists, but also curators. Tigran Amiryan is a curator. We would like Tigran to get acquainted with Kazakhstan artists and probably in his subsequent practice, invite them to participate in his projects. Sergei Kravchenko will come with a colleague. These artists are architects and they work with public spaces. Art has no boundaries. This is proved by similar programs of cooperation, where the artist can contribute to the development of the culture of another country. The number of applications from potential participants is increasing, which means that modern art will be replenished with new sources of inspiration. The ways of modern art are inscrutable. For example, with a light hand of the director, the star of the production can be a portfolio or a jacket. This is how the roles were distributed in the play called Second Hand. In the center of attention are things, inanimate objects. And this is not fiction, the authors argue, but situations from our daily life. Secondhand is a pile of clothes that allows you to try on someone else's role, someone else's life, someone else's image. This topic is philosophical and deep, but we've lost the primordial nature of our human image. When we use secondhand, the secondhand shop, the main theme is about some secondary thinking, secondary consciousness, secondary idea. It was lost, the basic idea, the human one. It was destroyed. Who are we? What are we? What is the purpose of our being? It was replaced by another idea, by a foreign mind. It turns a reasonable person into a weak-willed consumer, and then he no longer wears clothes but vice versa. The theme of uncontrolled consumerism has been worrying artists for a long time. Artists constantly return to it, changing the flow of material influence. But the problem remains topical despite all attempts to eradicate it. For the first time, the performance Secondhand appeared in 2002. It was of the same topic, but the power of the heap, the consumerism. In the early 2000s, it had a completely different overtone. 18 years have passed, and today I saw a completely different performance. Although the music remained the same, the idea remained the same, but see how it has transformed in our society. After all, now we're not talking purely about secondhand, about the consumerism. We're talking about this terrible materialization of our spiritual world. To be exact, the dominance of the material in the world. Why do we lose ourselves once we see a pair of new shoes? That is the question. To add drama to the production, the authors came up with the image of Demonica. When she appears, the characters of the scene have attacks of fear and even madness. She's the one who reigns over moments of temptation. After losing a fight to clothes and material things, a potential artist becomes a businessman, and the owner of a leather diplomat dreams of becoming a state official. It is a kind of dark entity that creates such things that ordinary people chase after. Then this certain entity begins to feed on our frenzied emotions. It sucks the soul out of us. Reflections on consumerism take place in the genre of dance. For the theater, Samruk, it is a difficult experiment. Their strength is choreography, not acting. Therefore, the creators of the play were initially ready for criticism. These are professional dancers, but the actors are not professional. The performance is dramatic. We do not show the full potential of our dancers. We certainly show them, but not as much as the guys can. They can do much more. We had a task to reveal the theme, the idea of the play, and try ourselves in some new direction. There are not so many dance theaters in Kazakhstan. Therefore, the production from Samruk immediately attracted the attention of the audience. Open to creative experiments, the public is ready to forgive the dancers for minor actors' errors. Moreover, it's something that can be worked on in the future. Dance is a kind of art that does not need translators. The understandable language of the human body, the power of the artistic image, improvisation, passion, and enthusiasm, the energy of performing skills turned dance into a global means of communication. It became even more universal in the creative comprehension of the Kazakh ensemble of dance, Saltanat. These artists have their own recipe, which helps them to quickly become their own in any place on the globe. In our repertoire, we have dances of the peoples of the world, dances of peoples inhabiting our republic and Kazakh dances. The ensemble has conquered concert venues from the first days of its existence. It was founded in 1955, more than a half-century ago. For any creative team, this is a decent age, demonstrating its relevance. Today, the repertoire of the ensemble includes numbers reflecting the dance heritage of many countries. This is the only professional dance team which fully propagates the diversity of the world choreography. All our dancers are professional. They love what they do. They give their 100% when they are on the stage. They are on average 32 years old, starting from age 17. Therefore, I think that we have a lot of work, and one who withstands such loads as we have in the ensemble can work in our troupe. We work very hard. There are only 150 performances and 2 productions in the repertoire. Foreign viewers say, to see the concert of the ensemble Saltanat is like going to an unfamiliar country and getting acquainted with its people. Tours in China, Turkey, India, Russia, Belgium, and the USA show that this dance troupe is a great success in any country. We perform everywhere throughout Kazakhstan. Basically, in the Opera House we give big concerts. Right now we are going to Russia, Rostov-on-Don. Before that, we were in many other countries such as the United States of America, Turkey, South Korea in general. And we always have a great welcome everywhere. I know that the ensemble performs abroad. To me personally, as a spectator, I really like the costumes, the production, and we appreciate the efforts of the ensemble's leader. As art critics say, the performances of this ensemble are unique mini-performances. The troupe of the 21st century, at the same time, preserves the heritage of folklore choreography, continues to develop and enrich folk dances, creating unique images. It has a special value for contemporary art. "24-hour access to art. Is it possible? To some extent, yes. Once a year around the world an action takes place, thanks to which you can get into the museum even past its regular working hours. The name of this event is Night of Museums. It was first held in Berlin in 1997. Today, 150 countries and more than 2,000 art spaces around the world participate in the action. The museums were first opened until 9 o'clock in the evening in order to give working people to see the expositions in the museum. And then it gradually grew into the Night of Museums, and various museums now are open till 12 a.m. Our museum will be open until 2 o'clock in the morning, so that everyone can contemplate the art. The Kosteyev State Museum is one of the 7 institutions of Almaty which annually joins the action. The museum prepares a rich program to interest visitors of any age, from the vernissages of paintings to living sculptures. Dressed in a variety of costumes, the actors on the Night of the Museums can become guides to exhibitions, arrange performances, or simply have photo sessions. For me, such a way of life, like communication with the public, is completely normal. I have different images. I have a white man, I have a rope man, I have a golden man. Well, in general, I myself am a great person. I perform in this suit for the 2nd year in the Night of Museums. I'm very fond of it, and it enjoys quite a popularity. The modern spectator needs to be constantly amazed, and in the era of communications it is becoming more difficult. The organizers of the international action have to look for new approaches in order to captivate the information-saturated person into the world of art. Nevertheless, according to museum staff, even the age of digitalization left room for simple but beautiful things. Now it is the age of computers, social networks. But what makes me very happy today is to see that the museum is literally full of visitors. Usually we are visited by 3,000 to 5,000 people on International Museum Day. And it makes me very happy, because no hyper-communication, no computers will replace real art. This desire to touch art leads residents of modern megacities in the art space even after a day's work. Night of Museums extends hours of work every year, and perhaps one day it will end its work only at dawn. A museum is an institution that works at a time that is not very convenient, to 6 to 7 hours. Usually it's hard to find time to see everything with family, work, and so on. This is a rare opportunity to come with the whole family when no one is at work, not at school, and it's fun to walk around, to look and to teach the children to do the same. It is a very interesting and wonderful idea. Organizers believe that if after this night there will be at least one more fan of art in the world, it means that it played its part. For the sake of this result, they are more than happy to conduct excursions through exhibition halls until morning.